Good to hear. Let's hope your execution matches your enthusiasm. I've got a job for you if you're looking to keep busy. Here are the details.
Didn't set up this window, so I go to the next one so I can have my guest up. Thought I did everything. Always one thing. Hey, Kalrati, how are you doing?
Hey, hey, everybody. Glad to be here.
Great to have you. Yes, I'm joined today by Kalrati. Welcome, everyone. Today is May the 4th. So I'm usually supposed to say May 4th, but no, today is May the 4th. And I just want to say welcome to Soul Talk, where we talk to our citizens and members of the community. I'm your host, fastcart. Actually, I'm sorry, I have to correct myself this time because I don't know if you can see the stream. You see the stream?
Fast Calvin, guys. Just in the Fast Calvin.
Fast Calvin today. Let's see. This is a shout out to people who like to watch the movies with me, so they get their reference. But yeah, it's my life, put it that way. But yeah, today is May the 4th, and have you been celebrating May 4th today, Kalrati?
I did. In fact, I actually made a video. I posted it like in some places. I made a video about 2 years ago of myself in Star Citizen, just my avatar just sitting on the rock and watching the sunset. And I actually recorded that with the Star Wars music in the background, and that's been my May the 4th be with you post for the past 2 going on 3 years now. So yeah, I definitely almost forgot it, but I saw a post like at like 5 a.m. and it was posted 5 a.m. but I didn't wake up that early, guys. But yeah.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, you want to say who you are and what you do in the community.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Kalrati. All right. You may see someone posting like Sryukushin. That's not me, of course. Certainly not. Right. But yeah, I usually just test a lot. I do a whole bunch of different activities. And yeah, I'm part of the Evocati. I really enjoy testing more than playing. It sounds good. But I like pain. I like torture.
You like pain, you like torture. Well, we'll talk more about that after dark.
Oh, okay.
Awkward. No, go ahead.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm always in the game to help everybody out. Unless I'm being a criminal, like that one person I shot. It's a good show. But outside of that,
Kalrati, do you use your headset? Because your mic isn't down.
Oh, actually, I don't use the mic headset.
Okay.
The headset on the mic, but I use my headset.
Okay, you keep going in and out. So I wasn't sure. Okay.
Oh, okay. I gotta get close and personal,
There you go. That's the way I like it. How's everybody in chat doing? I see Pot Bates, I see Black Sky Legion, I see Danger Herbo, I see Moi Yokiri, Bonsai. How's everybody doing in chat today? And how's everybody doing in YouTube? How's everybody doing in Kick? Yeah, we're still on Kick.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure if you want to join and click the link, and you can hop in with us. For me, well, how about you first? What have your week been like? What you been doing this week?
It's been not really. I was supposed to hang out with some friends on Sunday, but I missed it because, in case they're watching, I wouldn't say why. But yeah, it was pretty.
Don't
nice,
incriminate yourself. Don't incriminate yourself.
I tested a whole bunch of T19. It's going good so far. I know that they released the patch today. with a really cool feature that I was hoping would come back. That's what the gods attracted me. But we'll cover all of those.
Yeah, we will. I gotta. You make me paranoid because last week, was the last week or the week before last, they dropped the new patch right as the show started. So I'm like, so I didn't reload Dev Tracker yet. So hopefully they didn't do it to me again. But yeah, so for me, for May the 4th. I used to look forward to May the 4th all the time because they have discounts on books and games and movies and stuff like that. But, I'm so old now, I bought everything I want. There's nothing out, there's nothing new out there anymore that I really want.
Oh, man.
I may get Rogue One or something like that, but stuff like that. But, and this year, for some reason, they're not having a sale on books. So I can't really get a so normally I would do that, but maybe next year.
That one thing I've always wanted, I'll be real quick, is that you know that whole Death Star that kind of hovers over that little disc thing. I've always told myself, okay, I'm gonna buy that. But here come. Yeah, I think that's the reason why I haven't bought it. Every time I want to buy something on Amazon, I think, okay, there's something better or greater priority. I'll say that for next time. I'll eventually get it, but
Yeah, that's just a little desk thing that look really cool, but it's like $150 or $200. I'm like, it's cool, but it's not that cool.
Exactly.
Is that the thing you're talking about? The little
that is
thing?
exactly it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forget how much it costs, but it's like for that little thing, it's a bit pricey. But some people will buy it.
Yeah, someday.
So normally I would buy it, but no discount today unfortunately. Maybe on May the 6th. You never know. But I'm still playing Honkai Star Rail. It's related to Honkai Third Impact and Genshin Impact, but it's a completely different game, but it's made by the same company, same developer. Put it that way. So that's why the name is the same. But it's available on mobile and PC. I've been playing that for like over a week now, and I'm still getting through it. I finished all the storyline content, but now I'm just grinding out, trying to get my character better gear. So that's still going on.
Yeah,
but
I get you with that.
The good news is that I may have more time to get back to Divinity Original Sin 2, because I'm out of content on Honkai Star Rail, so we'll see.
Okay, sweet, nice. Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna do my thing. It's really short this time because
do your thing.
People will get it. So here we go. Misa called Cart fast. Misa, your humble servant. You used a joke ban, Misa? How rude. Everybody should get that one. I'm going to drag people down so we can get
I think it's the first time I've actually properly gotten a quote.
Hey, everybody. We're doing my Twitch face, Kaizen, and Cotton face. How's everybody doing?
All right.
No, you didn't, fastcart. No, you didn't.
Yes, he did.
Wait, what was that? I didn't hear you.
No. He's not going to ask you because his name is Calvin.
Yep.
Suppressed Stone. Oh, can joke. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So first off, May the 4th be with you. Everybody remember what Professor X said. You're a Klingon, Harry. And for people that are looking for a nice May the 4th present, I have a May the 4th present for all of y'all. Ready?
Okay.
Star Wars Squadron 3D or VR or whatever is free right now today on Amazon Prime Gaming. So go to Prime Gaming if you have it and get it for free, fellas. And ladies.
All right. Yeah, check that out. I'm not into VR, so I'm gonna have to get that a pass. But if you want to join us, click on the Discord link below, and we'll have a talk about Star Citizen. But for now, we have the sneak peek. So let me bring that up real quick. Oh, well, expanded. I already had it up, but the subtitle is, and Kaizen, you're bleeding through on the mic. The subtitle is "There's a New World Over the Skyline." So evidently, this is related to last week. The new Lorville, or Morville, and last week it looked more like a theme park. This one had more of the cyberpunk feel, in my opinion. What do y'all think?
Oh, new Babbage looks great.
I feel like I'm a little confused. Like, did they just put this out a couple weeks late by accident? Because it's like it's a sneak peek of what they just showed us in detail last week. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's still a
peaky.
sneak peek because 319 is not out yet. The PTU is out, but it's not out on the live test server yet.
But
I mean,
what
I
he's
guess.
saying, though, you already did an ISP.
Yeah, once
on
we
that
see
stuff,
it in
so
detail,
it's not
it ain't
a
that sneaky
peek.
or peaky.
Well, I mean, this
I
was
would-
last week, so yeah.
Okay.
We'll get something new tomorrow. But yeah, what are your thoughts about the screen side of it all?
Oh, man. It's,
Cool.
I mean, yeah. Beautiful. The
Yeah, we
gold.
went there.
Mhm.
It looks really good. They did
Mhm.
did a good
Everybody
job on it.
enjoy looking at it on a nice, smooth game until Jumpstown starts. What, tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Start
Yeah.
tomorrow. We'll
So-
talk about that in a bit too.
Yeah, enjoy it for the 40 hours where Star Citizen is going to
Well,
run
I mean,
halfway decent.
like I said, this is 319, so it's not even out on 318 yet.
Yeah, that's
so.
true. It's not in live.
That's true,
though.
too. That's
Yeah, so
true.
it's safe for now. For now.
Mm-hmm. All right, so yeah, that is this week. So let me get rid of the subtitle. Oh yeah, I didn't look up the subtitle this week. There's a new world over the skyline. I'm not sure if that's from a song or who is it from. Nobody recognize that?
No, I didn't get a chance
No,
to
I don't.
look. Yeah.
Nope. Okay.
I mean,
well,
there's the old TV series that used to, Whole New World. What was that?
Mhm.
oh, you're talking about the movie Aladdin, the whole world, a whole new world. Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
about that too, but I don't think it's Aladdin.
Yeah, I don't think that's got
No.
anything to do with that.
Yeah, Bonsai said Jumptown starts in 15 hours, so yeah, we'll get to that. But thank you, Bonsai.
Lovely.
All right, so up next we have, the Star Citizen Live called Animation Vocation, and they have Steve Bender on for the whole hour. And hopefully you guys catch this episode. I watched it earlier today. It was great. It was great seeing the camaraderie and the chemistry between these two.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did anyone anything stand out to anybody? What they talked about and what have you?
It's hard. It's complicated.
Yeah.
From what I got from all of that, it's complicated. And there's some nuances that they also put in. I remember when Steve Bender was first talking about it in Reverse to Verse, I think. Reverse to Verse, yeah. Like way back when. And even now, I think they still maintain that kind of principle about the tiny nuances that they want to put in with regards to the animations. It'll take a longer time, yeah. But I mean, I think it's something that we're going to continue to appreciate, as time goes along and as we get it, as we actually get it after Squadron 42.
Yeah. I thought the part was interesting how he brought up the point of when you're running, like he said, you're running up the stairs, but then your character can, shoot. He said that's unrealistic. And I was like, yeah, we kind of take that kind of stuff for granted.
Well, to be clear, you paraphrase, but mostly you talk about running up the stairs while you're holding a gun and shooting at the same time.
Right.
Doing those three things is complicated, not something that a normal person can do because they will fall up the stairs.
I can tell you for sure, you can do it. You're just not going to hit anything. You stop, plant your feet, shoot at the target. After you drop the dude, you move to the next location. It's move, shoot, communicate.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, well, I would hit something. I would hit the broadside of a barn, but that's about it. Yeah, some of the other things you talk about. Well, before I go, anyone else had anything that stood out to them?
Just in the context of this, like, and I don't know, maybe this seems whatever, but as a larger meta point, Star Citizen takes so much shit from people that, it takes forever, it's this, it's that, it's whatever. But you see stuff like this, conversations like this, with how difficult and how intricate it is and the stuff that they're doing. And then you see the Jedi Survivor game that got released this week that was pushed out by the publisher that was just hot garbage. And it's one of those deals where, like, okay, yeah, everybody likes to bag on Chris Roberts. He takes forever. He doesn't get stuff done. He doesn't whatever. But, like, it is, as a contrast, if you look at Cyberpunk, if you look at Jedi Survivor, if you look at even Kerbal 2 that dropped, where people were calling it Kerbal 2 FPS, Okay, maybe there's some respect to be had for the idea of taking your time. And yes, it's frustrating that it takes so long, but like when you see this talk in particular and they go into the intricacies of some of the things that they're doing, I can appreciate a game, even if it's one that I'm not playing right now because it's going to be 6 months to a year to 2 years before it's back in a playable state that I want to play with. I appreciate where they're going, and I appreciate that they have the ambition to not cheap out on it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Pop.
No. Go ahead, Effie.
No, I was just gonna say that I appreciate that sentiment because if you've been in the Star Citizen community long enough, you will have learned patience, or if you haven't already, you will learn it. So yeah, that's one of the better things about this community. But yeah, go ahead, Pops.
Yeah, I just kind of want to say, I know, how people kind of is right. People like to rag on it, and people like to say, and I've read a couple of things where people said, oh, the Lorville thing, that, it doesn't make any sense. It may not make that much now. I mean, besides it looks nice, and people are like, it just looks great. But you think about the buildings becoming like 1-to-1 in size to our size when those missions come in later on down the line, and they're doing it now and they're dressing it up, yeah. So like Kai said, it's
We
you,
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
dang, my voice is going out. Go ahead.
Got you going around.
I think in a lot of times, like we become so very nearsighted, we don't have foresight.
Yeah.
And basically kind of put that in a nutshell. Like we don't, like it's again. I got to go back to the analogy of when you're in the kitchen and you see how the sausage is made, you have an appreciation for it. It's a different thing, especially just being able to work within a gaming environment. Just even on a cinematic level. Running into issues, running into, how do you do this? Okay, well, this is not working out. Okay, well, how do I find a solution? XYZ comes up, all of these variables comes up, and a lot of times we just think if it's like, the old toy that we played like as a baby, the shape toy where you just put a box in the box, or the circle, or I mean the ball in the ball, and it's not like that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how much things I found interesting. We're talking about the animation of the face and everything like that. Because I mean, like intellectually or not instinctually, you know it. But I mean, it was having someone point it out to you how facial animation is important. Like like there's such a thing as the uncanny valley. And I don't really see that in Star Citizen now. Maybe in the past I did earlier, but in other games like Mass Effect Andromeda, oh my God, the Uncanny Valley was intense in that game, especially, and that's one of the things that they brought up in Star Citizen Live. Because oh yeah, the whole thing about my face hurts. Well, your face doesn't look right, so maybe that's why it hurt. But yeah. So I'm grateful in Star Citizen that they don't have that issue. Now I do wish they fixed hair, but that's something completely different over the that's more of an art thing rather than performance capture thing.
Yeah, with an engine thing, stuff like
That's
that.
what you wish they fixed?
No, not Tony's hair, but anyway, this hair in general in Star Citizen.
Yeah.
I think for sure that's a thing that they're going to iterate on and will be more. There also needs to be a lot more, representation of different aspects of things, like dresses for women and this and that. There's a lot to get to, but like when the game is in development and is not yet released, it's like it's one of those you have to reserve judgment until like wait until the dinner's completely cooked and then decide if it was good or not.
Right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. Yeah.
The other thing they brought up, I think this is near the end. We're talking about emotes. Steve Bender said that they want community feedback about emotes, like what more emotes do you want in the game and stuff like that. So I don't know if there's a thread on it or what have you, but hopefully there is. But if you have an idea for emote, evidently they're taking ideas, so go ahead and put that in.
So
you know
some
what?
kind of
Too, and
30K.
dances.
There need to be some kind of like 30K frustration emote or something. That would be hilarious.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Yeah, it'd be cool. You know what? Remember that Judge Mathis video we saw last night? There was a ton of emotes that we saw.
Oh my God!
That whole
I've been trying to block that out of my head. Don't bring that up.
Well, so like the interesting thing is with some games that when you lean into something like that, you can actually take something that's a frustration and make it like funny or whatever. So like
Mhm.
New World, when Amazon Game Studio released New World, they had so many problems and like things that just didn't work right and all kinds of issues. And they created a title for the players that were there when for the first like half a year of the game where it had all these bugs. The title is The Stoic. And you can only get that title. Everybody that played through all of the frustrations of like the market board being down for days because they had dupes and problems and this, that, and the other, you have the title of The Stoic. And it's the only way you can get it. And it's now kind of a badge of honor for the old players to be like,
Oh, that's cool.
So I think Star Citizen could do some fun stuff with that could make some interesting emotes or things for maybe some people that are like, oh, these people are people that regularly go into PTU, or these people are the what is the I'm sorry, Kalrati, what's the name of that thing you're in, the tester group?
No,
What's that?
Kalrati.
Yeah, Evocati, or like this is for people that did like mining or salvaging tier 1, or these are for the racers. I think there could be some neat things like that would just make the community super hyped.
I got one. I got an emote.
Before you get to that, Fitz, I just want to say I apologize, Kalrati. Evidently, all our names are Kalrati, so yeah, you got to deal with that. I'm fast Kalrati and Kalrati tonight. How about that? If we all answered at the same time, that's what I'm saying. But go ahead, Fitz.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm quite sure it's in the works, but an emote that I would suggest would be T-pose.
Oh my God,
that would be golden.
Standing up on tables and stuff. We could imagine like 10 years from now, Star Citizen is launched. It's a completely functional game. It's fixed, whatever.
It could be a
and
troll
old
mechanic,
school players are just
my
standing on tables like for no reason. Like you log out for the day or whatever, and you just leave your guy standing on the table for hours just as like an inside joke to your friends.
I'm pretty sure if they would put that in the game, it would only be like a 5-second pose. It wouldn't be something for hours and hours, but you never know.
No, but people would make a macro to just stand there and keep hitting the 5-second
yeah,
pose.
he's right.
Every,
You're right.
And then
You're
like, I'm going
correct.
to work. I'll be back in 10 hours.
So I just want to say we have a new guest here. Come BBC. I mean,
what's that?
Hey,
BBG?
BBG, what
Big
up,
Back
brother?
Laming, how are you doing?
He's muted.
I'm good.
There we go.
nice.
Hey, BBG.
Oh, just stop. They got to turn you up. Or you
Whoa,
like Mike?
hey.
That's what she said.
Oh,
Goodness.
Oh, no.
Oh my
Your
Why?
man just showed up and you call him soft. Why are you going to do that? That's rude.
No, you like Mike, or I got to turn you up?
Nah, I think that's it. That's where I'm at. So
Okay,
put me
I
where
got to
need
turn
me
you
to
up
be.
then. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I'm happy to be here. I haven't been here in a while.
Yeah, you haven't. So, welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I'll have to catch up.
Okay, no comment then. No comment.
No problem.
No comment.
All
Okay.
right. No problem then.
I am curious
yeah.
about one thing though with regards to the emotes. I'm not sure if they mentioned it, but did they ever talk about the hand signs emotes that they
Yeah,
showed? I think
they brought up
Yeah.
ASL, American Sign Language. That's one. They said that they want to add new American Sign Language emotes into the game.
Excellent, because I remember seeing a demonstration of it. I think it was 4 years ago, but I don't know if there was an update after that. But that's cool. That's cool.
That is
Yeah.
cool.
So evidently, I'm gonna have to learn American Sign Language. I'm not bothered about that.
Yeah, if somebody starts talking
Yeah.
to you that way, that's cool. Now, yep. There you
Right
go.
along with Banu. Now you
That's right.
Oh,
right.
man.
learn the Banu language, silent. All right.
Banu Sign Language.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Now you done had another layer. Oh my goodness.
All right, so that is Star Citizen Live Animation Vocation, and if you want that's too long for you, be sure to check out the new Fires video with the summary of the Star Citizen Live. So up next we have, this is real quick, but last week we covered Con 42, which is in Germany, I believe. But this week it'll be BCon, or Belgian Con. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a short coverage of what happened at the event. But basically, it's a Star Citizen event in Belgium. I'm having the guests on the screen right now, and if you want to check it out, check out their Twitch channels that have hours of media for you. So yeah. So on the first day they had Jay Huckabee, John Wayne, Galvin Rosley, and Corsair Atmo Eastport. And if you click the link down there, you can look at their VODs, videos on demand, to get the show. But do that after show talk, okay? But also on the next day, they had Thomas Berhard, Joan, he's big in the community, Graham Starjump Graham, and Pedro Camacho. He's one of the composers for Star Citizen and quite a few too. And that was on the second day. So again, if you want to check that out, go to their link. So I'm going to take a big guess and say no one here checked out BCon.
I wanted to. I'll be honest. I was like, I just been busy. I'm gonna have to put it on while I, work. So it's kind of one of those things.
I'm thinking most of it is in English, but I'm some of it may be in
Yeah.
Belgium.
No,
but yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Pedro
Wait,
Camacho
did
is
he-
my hero, so I'm gonna run that down. Let's see what he's
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, I think that's like the last hour or two. So yeah.
kind of got on you. You said you said it's in Belgian.
I don't know the language thing. Yeah, what is it?
Good guy.
No.
Correct him.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
No. What is the language?
It's going to be in English.
It's going to be in English. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If Belgians were speaking their native language, it'd be in French. But
Yes.
if you were
Right.
listening to a
Yeah,
Belgian
they
speak
know how to speak
French and you were
French, okay.
from France, you'd be struggling too. So it's all good.
Well, I mean, then again, you could be speaking Belgian waffles, with confectionery sugar with strawberries,
Yeah, that's what I
like
meant.
that.
Belgian waffles. Yeah, that's it.
I like the way you talk.
See?
And my mind
See?
just went to chicken and waffles. And now,
Oh my!
Okay,
God.
now we're gonna become food talk. But before
I'm
we
gonna ban
move on to the
fastcart
next
because I
topic.
can't ban any of you guys for jokes. So fastcart.
See, that's just me. That's just me. All right, so up next we have. This is another tweet, but this is from Star Citizen. I said, mission complete. The Zero forces were seen retreating from the pirate system. We'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks to all the volunteers who provided their efforts during this time of crisis. And that was on. Well, that was a couple of days ago. But yeah, everyone who participated in Threat, I didn't do it this time, but that's normally my go-to for the dynamic of the event because it's more PvE than PvP. But yeah, hopefully people had fun doing the thing. And
Well, effort was right. Effort.
people had lots of fun falling through the floors.
Yeah, effort.
Yeah, I like the first couple of comments and in the thing. So you say the real heroes were the service. And I always said they retreated because their virtual objectives were threatened by the performance of your latest patch. So yeah, people are laughing in replies here. But anyone here participate?
I think I had a pretty good time. There was one occasion. I mean, me and the other person had a laugh after because coincidentally I posted a story on one of the Star Citizen fan groups on Facebook, and they actually saw it and they commented and everything. So I wanted to get off of Mike L1, and we had a bug. Well, it was server related where you couldn't spawn your ships and such. So I was typing in chat where I wanted to get off, and I sent.
Hey, it wasn't me this time. It wasn't me. Okay, it wasn't me. Go ahead, Kalrati.
So I set off a transport beacon and such, and unfortunately, I didn't get a response just yet. So I saw someone who spawned a Carrack. I got into the Carrack after they entered, and I canceled my transport beacon. And the person didn't know I was there, or maybe they saw the notification. Maybe they didn't, and they took off, right? And I was desperate. They didn't respond to the chat, and I killed them. And I took the Carrack, and I had lots of fun with it. And the thing is, they thought it was another person whose name started off with K. And the person who typed in chat, they were gaslighting them. And he was saying, it's not me, I'm way over at Arcourt. And they wanted to beat and fight each other. And I'm like, I'm just flying this guy's carrick, helping out another friend play the crime stat. And I'm just staying silent. So yeah, eventually I sent him like 1,500 alpha UBC for his troubles. And I sent the other guy 500 alpha UBC. It was enough compensation, right? So it was a good time. It was a good time.
That's a gentleman criminal right there. That's
Yeah,
a
I'm gonna say
gentleman
cause trouble
criminal.
for everybody.
Look at it. I'm telling y'all, I'm be honest with you. If I see Kalrati in the server list, I am on my P's and Q's. So if I see anybody get up in my ship, and because remember, because Griff showed us now that anybody who's not in your party can get on your ship and becomes trespassing. Two to the head. Two to the head.
Get off my lawn, huh?
It's no warning. It's no warning. It's 2 to the head.
No. 2 to the body, 1 to the head.
Wow, y'all are rough.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, that is Xenothreat. Hopefully people have fun, and hopefully I hope whenever it comes back, I'm going to try to get back into it. And I do love piloting or turreting and a hammerhead to take care of that stuff. But yeah, and hopefully next time their servers will be better. But who knows?
Hopefully, yeah.
All right, so up next we have Jump Point available. So yes, this month a Jump Point. Attention subscribers, the April issue of Jump Point is now available. This time we're looking into L'Oreal's upcoming rework, Amble's iconic military back catalog, the colossal all-type Bengal, I want to see that, and the origins of the pyrotechnic amalgamated. The mining corp that discovered the now outlawed reading pyro system. So it's becoming a pleasure. Learn more on the Play Store now. So yeah, that is this month's Jump Point. So yeah, I've been including getting a look at the outside Bengal characters because one of the first assets you've ever saw was the Squadron 42 Star Citizen Kickstarter video in 2012, and you saw a Bengal character, Bengal, the outside Bengal, and that's been updated over the years. We saw it a few times in Invictus, I believe, or something like. No, that was the Idris. My bad. Or the Javelin.
No, we saw it at Invictus, yeah.
No, we did see it in Invictus. Okay.
Yeah. But because it's so far away from most of the structures, you can't really get the sense of scale compared to that 2012.
I mean, you do when you because Griffin took us on a tour on his 600i. We flew under it and around it and stuff like that. So yeah. So we did see the character up close. So I mean, and that's still one of the oldest assets that we were introduced to. So I'm looking forward to seeing some updates to it. How about everybody else?
Yeah, most definitely.
Anybody currently a subscriber?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we got some subscriber promotions, but I don't know when. That's next. So speaking of subscriber promotion, worked out funny how that worked out. May 2023.
Oh, before you go to that fast card, I just want to say that for folks that do look at Jump Point, look at that last page because there's a little treat there.
Oh, the tease.
The little tease of the Misk Mirai is on the last page.
Yeah, the new upcoming.
Send me a screenshot of that in my Discord later. All right. So up next we had the May 2023 subscriber promotion, and you can see it's a backpack this time. So I'm going to scroll down real quick. In-game reward flare, originally designed for the rigors of combat support. Clark Defense System CST-68L backpack is now popular thanks to its durability and patented core connector that helps it sit comfortably and balance on the back. Each had maximum capacity of 40 MSCU, so there's plenty of space for vital supplies in the field. MSCU, okay. Micro SCU, I guess. So Clark Defense System Night Camo, that's the first one. That is the Centurion level 1. So let me explain that real quick. Has the 89 on it, or that's 68. Is that 89 or 68?
89.
I think it's 89 because yeah,
Oh,
it's
no,
89.
68 because 68L. So it is 68.
Was 68? Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
68L.
One part of the 8 was
Wow.
larger, so I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
And
there
the
you
second
go.
one is, go ahead.
I said, well, there you go now.
Yep. And the second one is the Talk Defense System Cayman CSG 68L backpack. The Cayman edition features vibrant metallic green finish with geometric patterns and colors that changes slightly based on lighting condition. This is Imperial level. Get the camel and Cayman in the description. And the flavor will be available in 319 live. So it's not available yet, but when 319 comes out. So that is the green, and that is 68, as we just established. I'm liking the gray one first, better so far, but we'll see what the last one looks like. And finally,
Does
we
the
have
gray one?
What?
Oh, does the gray one also adapt to the lighting conditions? I can't remember.
The night camo features special texture finish that mixes camo and silver, so yeah, it's subtle yet striking look. So nothing about lighting.
Right. Okay.
And the final one is the Forest Camo CSP 68L backpack. The Forest Camo edition features a special digital green camo pattern with silver highlight. And this will be available to all subscribers from the Pledge store on M219 Go Live. So let's get a big look at that one. Yeah, I think I like the first two better, but definitely the first one in my opinion.
Same.
And so, if you want to receive this part of your subscription, you can try it before May 9th, 2023, 2000 UTC. If you subscribe after that, then you can pick these up in the monthly Flair subscriber exclusive store. So let me click on this, get a full look at all of them right there all together. Yeah, definitely a fan of the gray one. How about everybody else?
Likewise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to say I'm a fan more of the green one on the left, simply
left one?
because, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong; they're all nice looking. It's just, kind of like I said again, going back to the appreciation of seeing all of the hard surface modeling, as well as also looking at whoever went through the time to talk about the materials that they use. And for me, I like the green one.
Now, the only thing I would like if when they come out with armor to match this.
Yes, please.
So does it have armor yet, or not in the game? I'm asking.
Oh,
Anyone know?
I mean, there's some.
Yeah, some. I don't think there are patterns. Like for example, for the first one, I don't think it's too close, but there are some at least for the right one and some greens for the left. But I can't really. I'm not entirely too sure about how close those colors are.
Yeah.
Center one.
That camo one. I was gonna say that camo one goes with undersuits that are camo as well.
Yeah, there's a camo undersuit, definitely. Especially
I
the center
didn't
one
know
too.
there was camo armor. So,
Yeah, no camo.
no camo armor. Okay.
You could, you got to coordinate. What's your
Coordinate.
job?
Isn't there? Wait.
Coordinate.
But isn't there a?
That's catching on.
But we
But
need
isn't
one
there
with we need one with mushrooms.
But
on
isn't
it.
there a
God.
Clark Defense one though that does have some camo?
Mhm.
I don't know. There was a website called Star Citizen Fashion. Check out or Google it and see if they have it there. Alright, so all the stuff is earnable in game. Cover this every month. For the vehicle of the month. Take your mining enterprise further and make a fortune in the Argo Mole. Utilizing Argo's unique trilateral laser system, the Mole processes more or faster for highly productive mining excursion. And with the total of 28 mineral pods, you can do much more mining before calling it a day. Subscribers can add the Argo multi-crew miner to their fleet with enhanced insurance throughout May. Visit the pledge store to pledge for it or upgrade to the Argo Mole now. So yeah, the Argo Mole is the ship of the month. You can subscribe to merchandise. They talk about every week, and hopefully I'm gonna call it before they get to the origin mug, because you can do that every year and every month. Sorry, and that is the subscriber promotion this year. this month.
We can
Sorry.
get our Soul Citizens mug.
Oh, you can get the Soul Citizen. Yeah, thank you very much. Very good, very good. I knew there's a reason why I had you on. Anyway, yeah, so up next we have Happy Tuesday. This is this week in Star Citizen. They were a day late for some reason. I forget why, but yeah. So I talk about 318Q and this week in Star Citizen. They covered the Star Citizen World Tour. We'll cover that in a moment. But this week they talk about subscriber new link and newsletter. Wednesday got the roadmap. We'll cover in a moment. Thursday we cover ISCs, which we'll cover at the end of the show. And on Friday, tomorrow, they have an all-new, all-live episode of Star Citizen Live, which is at 8 a.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. UTC, or 11 a.m. Eastern, with Dan Truffin and Thorsten Lehman talking mining, salvage, tracking, and more. With the mention of it live, because there's always someone in chat who asks. So yeah, that is the third Friday show. And I just want to say they're looking for questions for tomorrow's show. Looking for questions, start to live mining salvage activator. So if you have a question about I don't know the topic, go into the link. Hopefully Kalrati will put it into the chat. And yeah, you get upload it. Or if you see a question that's already been asked and you want it to be asked, go ahead and upload it. And hopefully it'll get asked.
I would definitely say to tune into this one because there could be some some reminders from what they talked about at Con 42 in case anybody wasn't able to view that one. So they could have some data information on it, or if you missed Con 42 or you'd like to know more, who knows, they may be building on what they talked about at Con 42. So I would say to definitely see if you can catch this SCL tomorrow on Friday. Yeah, in case tomorrow's Friday.
Cyber stages. Banning MM is I believe in TIG. I haven't heard about that. Give me a link or DM it to me or something like that. I haven't heard about that. But yeah, so if you have a question or you want to upload a question, go ahead and go to that link and participate. So yeah, how about anyone chat or here have any questions about mining salvage or tractor beams?
No.
No?
Nothing comes to mind.
Doesn't come to mind. Okay, cool.
I mean, I'm very ready to hear more about tractor beams. Particularly the different modes and the detail around taking weapons and modules off of ships, in particular, because you hear it and then it's like, well, the devil's in the detail, though, right? Like, what state do I have to have my ship in to protect it from that? Can I protect it from that type of stuff? So I'm very interested.
Cool. All right, we'll check out tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, and 1600. 1500 UTC. Okay. So now next we have the roadmap roundup. Kalrati, you want to take this for me?
Sure. So for the roadmap for May 3rd, for the progress tracker, the first thing that they actually spoke about was ship trespass. So that has to do with the interior of player ships are now considered trespass zones for those without permission to enter. Permission will be granted via the party system until more complex systems for managing crew and passengers is created. Players trespassing aboard a ship can be attacked by the owner of the ship and any player in their party without fear of committing a crime. This deliverable has now been added to the mission feature team's schedule. And I believe this is, we'll see what patch this is for later down. So the next one is new missions like retrieve, consignment. I think we saw some of this in an ISC, an SCL, I think, when you were talking about new missions or both. So a new mission type where players are tasked with locating critical items in consignment lists and safely extracting them. This deliverable has been added to the mission feature team's schedule. So for the release view, this is where things get a little juicy. For the RSI links, that's going to be the new vehicle 319. I don't think we've seen an update for it in terms of the game version, apart from the from the, I think, the white box view or so yet. But that's building, implementing, and balancing RSI's planetary rover that links as a game-ready vehicle. It's been pushed to committed, so that's great for the 319. So for the next items on the release field, this is 20. We have ship trespasses again, so it's the same thing, and it's going to be scheduled for 320 tentatively for now. And of course, also the new missions, retrieve consignment, and what I don't think many people were actually expecting, that would be the Miscalled Sea. It's coming back to the roadmap. Hopefully it stays there. Encompasses all tasks, including design, art, audio, and tech required for the implementation of the Miscalled Sea, heavy cargo hauler into the PU. So, yeah.
Cool. So, anything stood out to anybody? Anyone here?
Just again, ship trespassing.
Ship trespass. Yeah, like you mentioned that. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's the RSI links and the Miscalled Sea. I don't have a whole sea, but that means the other holes will be coming down the line. But yeah, I'm hoping I'm probably gonna get the links. You know, I spawn off all vehicles until the game launches. But that links, man, it looks good. And then ISC.
Yeah, I'll probably get one too.
What?
Just-
I'm just playing.
it's gonna be what, $60?
I'm just
50,
messing.
60, depending on what.
Yeah. So I'll get it to, as a placement holder to hold for the brand new vehicle that'll come out eventually.
I get you. I know. I'm just messing.
So yeah, Kalrati, you got people asking about you in
No.
the chat.
Oh, bring it to a rant. Oh my God.
He cut that in there real quick, didn't he?
I was waiting.
All right, so yeah, that is the
Oh,
roadmap
my
roundup.
I want to inject some hopium into this, though, with regards to that Hull C. And I'm going to say with some heavy that the fact that they're putting in the Hull C means that there should be some other things that may be coming in. And we may see some mention of it in the monthly report and in the roadmap as time goes along to support the Hull C gameplay. It feels a little... I know that they add cards as time goes along as we get closer to the patch, but I'm very curious as to what may be going on in people's minds when they see that Miscalled Sea. Especially since we only have like small SU boxes for now, and it's like a whole bunch of different potential things,
I agree with you, Kalrati. I think that I look at the Miscalled Sea and I think, are they trying to get this ready for Pyro gameplay?
Of course.
Well, what's interesting about Pyro, though, is that the Akiro cluster isn't, which is the asteroid cluster in the Pyro system, it is not described as having a lot to mine. What it's described as is mostly worthless with some really, really rare materials. So I can imagine them thinking, if we can get the Hull C out there, you're going to have a whole bunch of fools running the Pyro, but the people that are going to stay back in Stanton and the Air and Halo are going to make all the money. They're going to give some gameplay, some reason to stay in Stanton, right?
Well, BBG, to kind of jump off of your point though too, not from a cargo standpoint, we think about also missions because Pyro's going to need supplies.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
I'm thinking that Hull C's got to come in for some missions that folks are going to have to supply. Not just only Pyro 3's ground bases, but also Pyro Ruin Station. So, and maybe some other outposts that are out there on other planets or moons or whatever. So,
and where will we end up with the Hull C's real capacity for fuel, right? Will you have to wrap what's tantamount to a battle group around that Hull C with starfarers and then ships to protect all those ships?
Right.
in order to move.
Wait. BBT, you're saying people who buy the whole series just for themselves won't be able to fly it solo? What are you talking
Oh
about?
boy, here we
No,
go.
doggone it.
They can fly it. I'll just be there to take it from them.
Yeah. You know what, Kalrati? I will
Kalrati
join
be
you on that
stabbing
one.
them up in there.
Kalrati, I will actually join you on that one.
Thank
on that
you.
endeavor. Because if we do find a solo ranger out there trying to, like you said, pilot a Hull C, yeah, they deserve to get got.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
almost
gonna be
over
looking
said.
for that. I'm
Go
gonna be
ahead.
looking for that guy that's trying to solo as Idris.
Oh, how about that guy trying to solo his BMM? Oh, wait, that'll be me. No,
Oh,
forget
no,
about that. Forget about that.
I'm waiting,
No.
man. I'm waiting for your invitation.
Almost over said someone he watched someone load it a whole. You can imagine someone loading the larger one, and yeah, that's one of the things that people have questions about. What's going to be like? How long would it take? Dark Knight says I'm giving that joke a pass. Okay, Dark Knight. But yeah, so that is the roadmap roundup. The OSI Links has its card added, and the Missile C had its card added for 320. So, and the new missions and ship track task. But yeah, there you go. All right, so up next we have. Oh yeah, this is the Spectrum version. I don't think. Yeah, there was no reply to this one, so I just want to say there was a Spectrum article saying detailing the same thing. And then we have the Pew monthly report for April. Kalrati, do you see anything interesting in this thing?
Yeah, so coincidentally, it actually the Hull C. Let me see if I can back to it. Was so it's under featured gameplay.
Yeah, I found it right here on the screen.
Right, sweet. So it's the very last paragraph where they're talking about finally the engineers focused on the new cargo deck, an external cargo loading game loop that will be used to support ships such as the Hull C. This is the first step in a sequence of planned updates to make cargo gameplay more physical and tangible. Fundamental concepts such as the cargo warehouse, asynchronous buy and sell orders not only support the Hull C, but will be important elements in manual cargo loading within hangars. And that actually made me wonder, okay, for at least for 320, what other things gameplay-wise may be coming with the Hull C? Because we don't have, we only have one SCU, and if you destroy a ship, you may have 2 SCU cargo boxes, but are they bringing 32 SCU if they implement the Hull C? Because if
do they have those cargo boxes that are like 3 SCUs that are one of the SRVs or one of the Argo ships carrying around?
Yeah, I don't think, I'm not sure if it's interactable still. And I know I have a feeling that, once again, some hopium for 320. If they bring online the Hull C, of course, they didn't state if the external cargo loading game loop or the new cargo deck is coming for 320. But I have some feeling that some things like these are also coming 320 to actually solidify the use of the Hull C, the 32 SCU or larger SCU boxes. Who knows if we'll get the cargo elevator and by extension the persistent hangar then. I mean, we don't know how close, because they haven't necessarily mentioned those items, that's super, super close. The closest that I saw on Spectrum was someone was talking about the lack of interaction with the physicalized items now. And of course, they're bringing the tractor beam, and we'll see more about it in the patch notes, to be able to be used again in the hangar. But Thorsten, he mentioned the cargo elevator, and how with the cargo elevator you'll be able to actually interact with your physical items more and such, as opposed to drag and drop it from the inventory UI. So all of these made me is something, or is a combination of cargo updates coming for 320 along with the Hull C. So it made me really excited, and I'm very curious to see what comes in next month's report as time goes along for this in particular.
Can I point something out, Kalrati, that I don't want to salt your game, but like,
oh man, salt it.
318 had all of the same speculations, and with the stuff that they were talking about when we were in the 316, 317 time, I was telling everybody I can't wait for 318. I can't, or no, I'm sorry, it was 317, right? Where they were talking about the physicalized cargo and whatever. I was like, I can't wait for this
Yep.
cargo elevator and all
man.
this stuff. And then it came out and they were like, oh, what does it mean? Well, it means this, but it had nothing to do with cargo elevator and loading. Remember when they first dropped the mule, I was like, why would they drop this? Of course we're going to be using it to load up our ships. And
Soon, man.
Mhm.
Soon.
And then none of it. So like, okay, maybe, but just
give
make
me-
sure you cut that copium with a little bit of weed so you can come down.
Oh my God! Say no to drug, people. Say no to drug. The views and opinions of Kaizen do not represent
Yeah,
those
that
citizens.
Kalrati guy, he's a scoundrel, he's a scallywag.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry,
I'm
brother,
glad-
but it's
I'm
true.
glad
You
you-
know it's true.
It is true. It is true.
No,
So,
but,
guys, man, the opium, guys.
No, but Kalrati, I'm glad you read this out. I'm glad that you read this out because to the point that was made earlier in the chat, the hull C is 72 times more than the hull A.
Yeah.
And so if they haven't been thinking about that external cargo loading game loop, I'm glad they're thinking about it now, right? Because it also only has a max crew of 4 people, right?
And I am pirating that. I'm sorry. I ain't going to any group pirating that. So those players
actually being on that cargo deck, moving 4,608 pieces of cargo, right?
If the server can handle it too, you know?
That's a game session, right? I think they're going to have to configure that in much bigger SCU boxes. It's going to be very interesting what they come up with.
And I think we saw the sneak peek with larger cargo boxes, not last week, but before, was it?
Yeah, like I said, and the one of the Argo ships had those 3 SU boxes. So matter of fact, Danger Hobo, I want to apologize. Look at it. I said look at the ship spec page for the link. I was mistaken because we seen the white box of it, but it's not a concept yet. So there's no ship spec yet. But as far as I can tell, I think the links in the Ursa should be the same size. Just the interior are different. But that's what we know so far. But yeah, about the whole C. Almost always said the whole C to the E will be safe from pilot because they won't want to transfer goods for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
That's when that boarding action comes in, though.
Oh, yeah, just do the whole ship. Yeah.
They don't want to shoot the pilot.
Yeah, but you still have to unload it after you take it to wherever you know, the chop shop or wherever you're going to be. So yeah, that's interesting.
Legitimately, that is the most fun aspect of Star Citizen. It's not what we get. It's us sitting around having nerdgasms over what we could get. It's like Star Citizen is buying a lottery ticket. You're not going to win. It's just a matter of just imagining what you would do with it if you did.
Yeah. Nice words.
And John B. Pick said it was the I'm sorry, the Bonsai said it was the raft. I tried to think of the ship. It was the raft. So thank you for that, Bonsai.
I hit the lottery. I'm gonna buy a hull E.
Woo! Hey, I hit the lottery. I'm gonna get the goddess. Well, I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see how much I win first.
Nope.
But yeah, that is the Star Citizen monthly report for April. Anyone else have any comments? Something different in there before we move on? 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're moving on. Here we go. Up next we have. Oh yeah, so this came out 2 days ago. The RSI launcher 1.6.6 release note. Today releasing 1.6.6. This is the hotfix in order to correct an issue related to acknowledge modal and detect Linux users. So fix and acknowledge modal and Linux users for analytics. Finding bugs, there's the category in the issue council called RSI Launcher 166. So, and that leads us to I forgot to look at the dev tracker. So let's look at the dev tracker, see if it's still the latest. This came out yesterday.
Oh, we had a patch today.
Oh, you did with the patch? Are you messing with me?
No, we had a patch today, yeah. I'll say I'll link it in the chat.
Let me look. Oh, wait. That's the wrong thing. Doggone it. Let me look. Try to get the dev tracker up real quick. Why do I keep coming up with the...
How are you not going to believe him? He's the nicest carjacker I know.
No, when you came in today,
Yeah,
you said you couldn't hear me.
Why would he say that? That's so rude.
I know.
I told him to say
846-5349. 846-5349 is the most.
Yes. Okay. So I mean, I don't know why they keep doing this, but I look at these things before the show, and 2 weeks ago they dropped it right at 9:00 when the show was starting. So yeah. Okay. So 5349. Thank you. Okay. So what is different about it that if you've been looking at it for a moment now, like Kalrati? Anything
Yeah,
different
so
in it?
I was happy to see that they reintroduced. At first, they took out the ability to use it because you could have used it in the armistice zone anywhere, and it was my worry.
You cut out. What did it cut out? What did it cut
right.
out?
So originally, it was kind of going back and forth. Let me the patch notes right here. It was going back and forth with regards to being able to use the tractor beam.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the thing is, they kind of wanted to avoid persons from hitting people's heads off with a size 3 Panther coming from the hangar and going into the elevators. So I guess they kind of disabled it completely. And I was thinking, okay, is it because they can't separate the zones from the hangar to the rest of the armistice? Similar to how you can separate the station zone from the rest of space to make it armistice and non-armistice. But eventually, in this patch notes, we're seeing that they've made it possible to actually use the tractor beam only in the hangars. So that's actually reassuring. But I don't think it's at the moment. I think it's bugged because I think it's in the known issues also. I can't remember entirely, but okay, yes. So if you activate the tractor beam in hangar, you can bring the activated tractor beam back and use it in armistice zone. So I think part of it is also still a bit bugged, but it's good to see that they're able to actually separate the zones, or separate the object containers from the hangar and the rest of armistice, which is great news considering that we're getting trespassing and eventually persistent hangars, where we'll probably have different privileges in the different areas of armistice. Until they do away with armistice completely anyway. So it's good to see that. So that's going to help out, especially with regards to the interaction of items when you attach and detach them, because it was a bit of a pain when you couldn't use the tractor beam in the hangar, because you may, if you wanted to, let's say you didn't have any cargo in your ship, like a single seat fighter, then you may have to detach. It was a whole bunch of different things that made it extra difficult. And the feature attach and detach showed you how much more convenient it is to actually swap out those weapons. So it's good that we're able to actually do that, and hopefully they fix it as we get closer to live.
So I think I realized why I keep missing the latest patch notes, because I saw the one from yesterday, but I'm looking at the latest dev post on dev tracker, but they pre-write it before making it visible, so that's why I keep missing it. Right. So what time did it come out? What time did it hit the servers? Do you remember?
That hit the servers about 3 hours.
3 hours ago. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So thank you. So yeah, this is general stability, technically focused general stability, low-volt skyline 2.0, salvage contract mission, tractor beam, Kalrati went over. The Ghost Hollow Reclaimer, PvP mission, mission digital management, that's the trash and everything, mining balancing V01, and nuclear.
That's a big deal right there. That mining balancing, yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because
tell us about it, BBG.
Well, just everything has increased in value, right? There was a whole bunch of everybody was just doing rares, right? Right now, there's the broad elements that can be found have increased in value. So mining's increased in value overall, and then there are places for hadnite and for iron to be able to be purchased. So just a broader, you don't have to just go for the meta, the meta elements. You can do mining and earn mining everything, right? All the stuff that would be needed in a full spectrum of these elements that could be used across the system and other systems. So I like that they've done that. This is what people were asking for, and so and it is in play. It does work.
So, I mean, partially in addition to just what that says, like in and of itself, what's just as important, if not more important, arguably, is what that doesn't say, but what you can infer from that. Two things. Number one, you now know that you feel like they've pretty much feel like they've got a good flow for the general high-end targeted mining, like Quantanium and whatnot. And it tells you that they're now looking to, number one, on the economy side, try to figure out some balances and start to play with, instead of like a very sort of simplistic, childish MMO of like, okay, we've got 19 objects that you can gather that are all garbage and one that everyone's looking for. Now they're more playing like what you want to see is them actually reduce a little bit of the value of the number one thing and increase the value of the other things so that it starts to become a functional ecosystem of an economy and not just a sort of joke of like, there's Quantanium and there's the shit you throw away. And then on the other aspect of it, so that's the like the economy side of it. On the other side of it, for gameplay, that means that they're hopefully starting to look into balancing the, like, okay, we feel like we have a really good idea on the high end loop of the Quantanium, whatever. Now let's figure out more, adding in more intricacies and flavor and actual depth to the game loop of not just the one item, but other things, which is, I mean, that says a lot. If you look at the fact that I'm continually shocked because I thought maybe 2 iterations ago they were done with mining. And they're like, now when you hear them talk, they're like, yeah, we feel like mining is about 80% done. And I'm like, you're mining in this game. Mining in this game is 5 times more intricate than mining in any other thing. And you're like, oh, it's 80% done. Like, there's more? Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I
what
think
more
that's
could
exactly
there be?
right.
Yeah, that was my question when I first heard that. I know what you mean.
Well,
people,
it's that beginning to match it up. I
Yeah.
think, Kai, you're exactly right. It's beginning to match it up with, you know, system states, right? And the different way. I like the language that you use, right? Because it is in other MMOs that it is that childish model, right? And I like the idea that we have an opportunity to see something a little bit more sophisticated here, right? Like you'd love to see systems and planets in different states that would require a different spectrum of materials, right? Over the long term, right? So if you have a system that's building out a space station, right, it might need a different suite of materials than another system, but you're always going to have that rare Quantanium because you got to move. It's like oil and gasoline, right? It's always going to be that commodity, but does it always have to be so distant from the other commodities as to make mining the other commodities useless? Well, they're beginning to address that, and you can imagine that they're thinking about how to match up that mining to the economies and the different states that systems and planetary systems in general and planets can be in. Right?
And there's nothing at all that would hint that this is unique with regard to mining. So for those people who are disappointed because they're like, man, I played salvaging and it sucks. There's nothing to it. It's so facile. It's so just surface level. And it's like, yeah, so was mining when they brought it into this game. And then 87 iterations later, it's this whole vast infrastructure and deep, rich game loop where you can do it 19 different ways, and they're still increasing it. So, like, for those people who say that salvaging sucks, I say, yeah, wait a year and see all the stuff that gets added, and then a year after that, and then a year after that. Yeah,
that was a topic on Soul Talk. One of the questions was, should I invest in a mining ship or should I invest in salvage ship? If you want to have fun now, mining. If you want to have fun later, salvage. So pick whatever one you'll have more fun in later. Yeah.
So I would highly encourage you to get a mining ship, because right now pirates like myself can take out the bags. So please get a mining ship.
Real quick, I have a couple of questions here that I want to get to before we miss them. But one side says about the FPS mining. notes from yesterday's patch said a new mineable is introduced that is only available in a new cave system and has a high value to encourage players to go mining with the FPS mining tools outside of prison. So that means sand caves, which are absolutely impossible to find. Good question, but yeah, it's good to know that they added they made something more profitable so people can test it. But yeah, anyone else know the answer to that one?
I'm not sure. Given that most of the caves are usually also driven by missions that's usually drive you to them. Sometimes you can find caves by just pinging around stations and pinging around points of interest. But it will be really nice if some of the missions, again, I can't remember how many, if there are any currently that lead you to those sand caves. I think there are some. But hopefully when that happens, you'll be able to actually find those that rare item. I think it's Generite or something like that in the sand cave to kind of spice up the experience.
Thank you for that. Almost over asked, will players be able to purchase other mineable materials to build other things, like he wants to build a double wide trailer, which we talked about before. Can you buy iron from another player to upgrade the double wide, or just plan for later? Plan for later. Plan for later, yeah. So, I mean, the whole endeavor thing that I'm looking forward to is taking materials and making other materials from it, or upgrading components. But yeah, that's not in the game yet, or we haven't really heard anything about that yet. But hopefully we'll hear something about that soon, TM. All right, so I want to move on because we have a whole lot of stuff. Well, not a whole lot of stuff, but stuff to get to before we get to the ISC and Machinima. But yeah, that's it. The PTU 349 is out now, and Wave 2 is able to test it. So get on that if you're interested. All right, so up next we have, this is basically PTU feedback, what they're looking for. I'll just blow through these quickly, because they're looking for PTU feedback for the Lovo Skyline revamp. If you have any comments about the Lovo Skyline, they want you to comment on it in this thread. Also have PTU feedback for the salvage contract, and these are all put up by Bayer Red CIG. Salvage contract. We have track beam item attaching and detaching, which is especially interested to learn its core functionality such as interacting issues, removing and replacing mapping, exploits and loopholes that allow easy sale, balance component salvage through hull scraping salvage, how these changes interact with claims and insurance. So that's what he's looking for in with regard to the track beam. Ukulele goes hollow PvP. They're looking for comments about that. Balance and income potential, and balance of various timers for cooldowns and reset. And those are some. Here's another one, but they're looking for. This is from 318 Arena Commander and Star Marine feedback, but they posted yet 2 days ago. The DJ Bunton CIG, this is from May 2nd, they deployed a hotfix for the long loading screens of Arena Commander and Star Marine on live. Should be able to get into the game very quickly now. Apologies for how long it took to resolve. But then there's a couple of comments after that, because someone said that the collision bug on a Dying Star, do you do anything? The issue with the thruster wasp throwing ships around, global issue, but especially by Dying Star, to be fixed on the latest PTU patch, so today. The issue is invisible collision caused by moving geometry like rings or asteroids is again a global issue and still being looked at. Not sure on each ETA. So yeah, any comments about anything I expect to just now?
The new player experience was
You're cutting out, Kalrati. You said the
Oh,
new
sorry
player
about that.
experience what?
You can hear me now. Yeah. Okay, so
Good Lord.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So the new player experience, I was very curious as to what it was going to be like. I kind of had a hunch that that it was going to be like a mission kind of thing, and it actually is. It's cool that for if you're a brand new player, if you want to experience it, especially, you can always recopy your account in case across patches they didn't reset it. And it's nice. I think there are some things that they could actually, and hopefully in the feedback, some persons pointed out, there's some things that they can also include in the hint system, which is also revamped, by the way. I think it's a lot more in tune with whatever you interact with. But during the mission, like for example, if say they tell you, okay, go to the kiosk and buy something, it doesn't really tell you how to put it on. So even just saying, okay, press whatever to open up the inventory to drag it and put it onto your character, I think that's all that's needed. So I think that's just a few things that they need to include, because I think they don't want it to be too specific. Otherwise, if something breaks or if they have to apply it in other locations, they may have to have a larger turnaround time to fix things and bugs, especially across patches. So I think it's generalized enough, but not too specific that it's generalized enough that persons can still understand and go with it, but not too specific. So in case something breaks or they have to update it every patch, that it may not spend a long time. The only thing though is that compared to your traditional MMO, it's actually within the game world. So a criminal can actually interrupt you, or you can accidentally press something that can criminalize you and send you to prison. And I think that kind of breaks the mission. So hopefully, if you are, or if you know someone who wants to actually start the game off when 319 goes live, there is the Find Guide hyperlink that's on the homepage as well. Or if you want to just guide them through, just to protect them and everything like that, so that they don't break anything. Or hopefully CIG implements some kind of break fixes that to prevent those kinds of things from happening. So yeah.
Yeah, Kalrati got ahead of me just a bit, but only by one topic. But yeah, the new player experience tutorial now available for testing. You should see the option directly on the front end of your first launch at the build. Please select the option and go through the entire experience. You want to approach you like a new player. So they're looking for feedback about the new player experience, and just after that, some of the content creators out there who make content for new players say, Annabelle Huckley says, "This is an official tutorial. I'm out of the job." If you click on the thing to give you a screenshot of the tutorial, skip or play the tutorial. And they have a comment saying from Chris Wayne, CIG, the new feedback for the new player experience, which I just talked about. Help us find and squash all the bugs and send us your feedback. For example, your input help us identify where we can expand or improve the tutorial. So, Annabelle Huckley, you're not out of the job yet. You still have a couple of more jobs, but not yet. Yeah.
And for old heads who have been around for a while and remember the tutorial that was very physical, there was an animation in front of you and all that, a character in uniform, in helmet. This is not that, right? This is more, as Kalrati said, it's prompts. It is the journal, using the journal where a lot of the activities and how to do them is listed. And it is an ever need to improve integration of the hint system and the control system, right? So there's a lot of text, right?
Yeah.
But you can imagine this is tier 0, right? As the way that Kai referenced Velvet earlier, and it is useful. You always got to watch out for knuckleheads trying to subvert the process, right? But it's a step forward, and when they combine this, when you can imagine once they get closer to end game, to retail viable product or whatever, that they would be far more set in how they want to do things, and then you can imagine it becoming a lot richer. But this does respond to folks who are saying, particularly for these free flight weeks, what if anything is CIG doing for that new player that they're inviting in, right? And so this is the beginning of that answer.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. There's quite a few more stuff. They're going to try to go through this before we can get to the ISC. But another feedback thread, a mining balance and redistribution overhaul. They have a whole lot of stuff that they're looking for feedback on, some key questions, and the general goals of the overhaul. Talk about that. I'm not going to go into them in depth, but that's, the Team PTU feedback focus. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of, they're looking for a whole bunch of feedback. The gist of this. This is from the Ep.98. This was posted yesterday. Suggested temporary solutions to the infinite loading screen. Lockout and reset, shutdown, stuff like that. But Builder CIG responded. They did a hotfix for the loading screen issue the other day. Having loading issues with the PU Arena Commander starting all the above. Play C game says they still cannot log in unstowed into these 2391. Builder CIG replied, okay, the good news is that a solution has been worked on, but true of most things in video game development, no idea when it will be done. So still having infinite loading screens. They're working on it. There's no idea when it'll be done. So anyone here have that issue?
I did have it kind of. At least I thought it wasn't, but I just let it continue, and similar to 318, it actually loaded. This was for loading into the PU. I didn't try and this was on live as well. It was very apparent when loading into Battle Royale. I don't know since after the hotfix if that's still happening, especially after a match. You can just have that infinite loading sometimes. But hopefully for 319 or somewhere whenever it's ready to be implemented, the second hotfix to fix those will alleviate those issues as well.
Yeah, so if you can't get in right now, be patient. Hope to fix it soon. Try a different game or try Honkai Star Rail. That'll keep you going for hours. So yeah, that's my advice. After that, we have when will new players receive their P52 referral reward? This is from Freya Vanidis. This is from today. Hey there and welcome to the verse. The existing account referrer should receive their reward immediately once the new player they are referring completes a pledge for a starter pack, or a ship on the pledge store. The new player's reward should be distributed after May 2nd. So, well, okay, that was a couple of days ago. And this is being done in waves. Okay, so it may not show up immediately, so hang tight, it's on the wave. So that's what they're saying. If you haven't got new referral ship yet, if you're a new player, it should be coming soon. TM. But yeah. Did anyone get any referrals recently? I haven't gotten any referrals in like years. No, okay. This is from Friday. Sorry. Since creating character retrieval readiness login failed to log in. This is from yesterday. Builder CID responded. He posted a couple of responses, but then he had to go back and edit them. So I'll just read the parts that are not crossed out. So hello, we fixed some issues like 15. We fixed up to like 15 issues, probably more, that were contributing to 190K family errors throughout working on 318 and 318.2. If you're still having issues getting this error, we have to handle it as a new issue because the worst offenders that we are aware of have been taken care of, and the error rates that we are seeing back to what we considered normal. He crossed out a bunch of stuff. He said, my bad, this been correct for the stuff he crossed out. We made two-factor authentication mandatory, and the port doesn't currently have a way around it. So this debugging stuff currently is impossible. So you have two-factor authentication errors or something like that. You might be out of luck for the time being. But let me see the other thing. This is from Builder CID again. Okay, this is something different from the two-factor authentication. But yeah, so you have two-factor authentication. I had submitted a ticket for that issue a while ago. So if you have any issues with that, make sure you check your email account make sure that you check your phone, maybe have a pop-up or text message or something like that. So, yeah. This is from CIG. If a VPN is helping bypass the issue, it's possible that there's something between you and your connection to our server that is causing the problem. In most cases, if a VPN solves it, it probably isn't something we can fix since it would be outside of our network. But with that said, some of these errors will be bugged on our end, which is why we want to check. He said, my bad for ending this being incorrect. You made two-factor authentication. That's what he talked about earlier about two-factor authentication. But yeah.
So just to chime in on that aspect, I had, and for those who, there are some who would actually know about, for an entire year, every single time I exited my ship, I and tried going back inside of it or someone else's ship, which when you have that notification at the very top that your username has left, so Kalrati has X ship or so. Every single time I re-entered my own ship or someone else's ship or an outpost, or even tried opening up the comms link on my MobiGlass, the game will always freeze and crash the desktop. For an entire year, me and many others tried looking through it, try to figure out what was happening. I contacted customer support many times. At first, we thought it was hardware. At first, we thought it was software. I wiped my computer, and it was still happening. Eventually, I decided, I don't know how, but I decided to just connect use my phone as a hotspot to my desktop. And I launched Star Citizen. And when I exited my ship, re-entered it, nothing was happening. And that was really weird. I then decided, okay, my desktop has a wireless adapter. I connected to my router wirelessly, nothing happened. So I contacted my ISP and I told them that I didn't want to say, okay, I can't get this game to work, because you know how sometimes ISPs would say it's probably the game's end. So I told them that, okay, can you reset the firmware or reset something? I'm experiencing some connections. And they did. 5 minutes later, I repeated it. And since then, 2 years later, 3 years later, I haven't gotten the issue whatsoever. So whenever the ISP did, it kind of affected that. So what we thought was a hardware issue, software issue, CIG's end, it actually, at least for my issue, which was a very rare occurrence. I've never heard anyone else experiencing that in Star Citizen before, where getting back into your ship or getting back into another object container, I can cause the game to crash. It turned out to be the ISP. So hopefully, whatever issues some persons are having, if it isn't on CIG's end, they can actually get it resolved as soon as possible. It's some really, really weird solutions and a lot of iterations in trying that you sometimes have to find.
I mean, and this is a lot of work for a game that's not even launched yet.
Exactly.
So yeah, thank you for saying that. But yeah, so if you have issues, go to Issue Council, go to Spectrum. Hopefully someone can help you up with that. So up next we have, so Jumptown 2.1 debuts May 5th, so that's tomorrow. Green Pirate Jumptown is reopening the doors once again this weekend. You might have noticed a few different from last time you visited. We upgraded Jumptown Dynamic Event further with a myriad of improvement. These new labs have a totally redesigned interior, reimagined as a circular floor plan that conveniently comes with fewer doors, making for much better sightlines and shooting lane. A second dispenser can also be found for more experienced drug production. The entire operation has doubled in size, with a second entrance and multiple windows and skylight that makes ambushes hard to come by for those hunkered down inside as well as those attempting to breach from the outside. Jumptown 2.1 kicks off May 5th, 9 a.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. UTC. The event will run until May 9th, until 1 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. UTC, with the location of the drug lab rotating every 24 hours. Keep an eye out for more details on Jumptown going live alongside the event, and we'll see you there. Keep an eye on your app. So, who's looking forward to Jumptown 2.1?
I know 50 thumbs down.
What thumb down?
Check the emotes. 50 people actually thumbs down. I think it's basically because of the experience. Because
I see. Yeah.
The whole hopefully it wouldn't affect the service as much. But I mean, personally, I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see how things go with regards to the whole service performance and such.
Anyone else?
Nope.
Jumptown 2.1?
Nah, won't be in the game really. No.
BBG?
You know, you gotta roll up. You gotta roll up thick to Jumptown.
Thick.
How
I mean,
thick?
you roll up. Well. They are the rare opportunities where you roll up and everybody's in a line taking their turn, right? But that's not sort of like what Jumptown is about, right? So even though you like that when you roll up and you're like, oh well, let me grab my drug package and roll out, it seems weird. So you know, what I'm excited about is the new floor plan. Hopefully, it is. They're focused on doing everything they can to make it more of what it was. Right. This is for me an intensification of what it was. And when you do have groups that roll up and try to take control, it is a very interesting area. Right. I've rolled up even as a solo player and watched groups essentially do combined arms battles and see them go back and forth and trying to maintain hold of the space. And it is a really it's one of the more interesting things that can happen in Star Citizen. So but yeah, if you want to roll up, you got to roll up with a posse. You got to roll up with a squad. And if y'all are around when we want to do that, we could all do it together. But other than that, I'll be watching.
Have there been any words about the A2 being nerfed yet? Because I heard that was
Please stop it. Let's not even discuss, because the A2 is designed to do exactly what it's designed to do.
All right, then. So, yeah, Jumptown 2.1 debuts May 5th. So that's tomorrow. So if you want to participate, have fun. And I'll try to get some quick streams about it and see what's up. This is the tweet that they sent out. Go get ready for new and improved Jumptown experience. So for opening the doors through May 9th. Stay tuned for additional Jumptown news details to come. This is what they just talked about. So, yeah. And I love the Burks. He's the first one not the first one, but he comes up and saying, well, it's been 5 minutes since GRG has been such a dynamic event in the most unstable patch in years. People just love trolling GRG, but yeah, we do it with love. Oh yeah, so this is from Obi-Wan Shinobi. May the Fourth be with you. I love that visual. I love this visual scene. I mean, I'm not sure how I know that sometimes rocks appear in midair, but having that emote at the time just right to make it look like that's very good. So yeah, that was May the 4th. I've quite a few CIGs say for the light and life, and May the 4th be with you. So yeah, they get CIGs getting into the spirit. Matter of fact, they put a tweet out to say May the 4th be with you, and they have the Pico Moon with the Scorpius, a couple of Scorpius in the foreground. So yeah, May the 4th be with you, everybody. I'm gonna move to these real quick. Next up on their Bar Citizen World Tour, you got Sacramento, May 14th, Belgium, Columbus, Ohio, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and South Korea. So check out the schedule to find an upcoming event near you. Play.sc Bar Citizen. So yeah. So that is Bar Citizen World Tour. Atmo Esports, who's that's on the Flight Champion. Who is the next fighter Flight Champion? They had the trophies, bronze, gold, and silver. So that's coming up. GRD Fab did the trophies. They look pretty good. They did a 4K one. If you look at the link, click on the 4K one. It looks pretty great. And this a couple more before we get to the ISC, announcing Smash League. St. Jude Charity Chase. Raise money for St. Jude Play Live, brought to you by Robert Space Industries. $50 donation, have the option for entry license to hunt, Toasty Buffalo and I actually on May 12th, 7 p.m. Eastern, for a huge prize to drink and comment. So if you want to donate to a good cause and then maybe have some fun, I'll go to that link. One more for ISC. This is from Red Monster SC. This was tweeted from the RSI account. Announcing the second annual Red Legion Rumble, a Star Citizen Demolition Derby, with 10 million AUC prize pool. Sunday, May 21st, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and Real Rifle sponsored by Kobe, VKB, Predator Mount, and RSI. So, any of those strike an interest in anyone who might want to participate in any of those events?
I would say definitely or maybe.
Maybe which one?
Yeah, the Fight to Flight, because I've always
Fight
watched
for Flight.
Twitch streams and such, but I've never thought about participating, so we'll see.
All right, let us know. We will watch.
All
Yep.
right.
All right, so this is ISC. This is 14 minutes long. Grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's head into it. So here we go.
The public roadmap on the RobertSpaceIndustries.com website is the place to check out the new features, locations, gameplay systems, and technologies currently being developed for both Star Citizen and Squadron 42. But as with all things in game development, there are gaps, small breaks, quick moments when a single developer is forced to wait for another dependency to be finished before work on their primary or even secondary tasks may continue. Now, these happen at every game studio on every game project in development, but the stories of what fills these in-between moments, or ninja missions as animation director Steve Bender referred to them on last week's Star Citizen Live, are rarely, if ever, shared. Now, with the team heads down focusing on bringing Alpha 319 with its new content and continuing performance fixes to live servers within just the next 2 weeks, and the staggered development of Alpha 320 already well underway that we'll be exploring here as early as next week, we hope you'll indulge us this week, as we thought we'd dedicate this in-between ISC to one of those in-between tasks that get so often overlooked. One developer's work between tasks to build a sequel, an expansion, and a potential evolution to the Grey Cat PTV buggy tracks to fill additional convention centers when big events like Invictus aren't running. So here's Stefan Damrow with an update to his one-person crusade to bring more fun to Star Citizen's original, first-ever working vehicle. It's true, my hangar module peeps will remember.
So for the first raid track, we thought of an interesting way to kind of fill up the convention center when there's no conventions happening there. So Martin kind of did this track for the Orison Convention Center with this kind of neon advertisement filled space and this track which you can race on with your PTV. And later it was kind of handed over to me to kind of just wrap it up, do the bug fixing and kind of just iron out the small problems so it can go live. And so our first racetrack was this kind of dark, moody space filled like up with neon advertisement lights, very kind of commercialized space around the racetrack. So kind of after wrapping up the bug fixing of the first track, I moved on to some other tasks, but turned out that they kind of had just a bit of downtime in between. So we thought it would be a nice idea to just kind of make a second racetrack, since we have multiple convention centers. So there's definitely some space to fill there. And I started to build this second racetrack kind of using the base that Martin built for the first one. So it's still a work in progress, but let's take a look. So for this new track, obviously we want to kind of keep it different and create something new to give a bit of a different vibe compared to the previous one. So we took the same basis, which is all the racetrack pieces, but just kind of adjusted the stuff around it a bit. So first thing you notice is obviously it has kind of a different dressing around it, different styles. So this one is this snow-filled environment. Since this one will be placed on New Babbage, we thought it would be cool to kind of reflect that also on the interior a bit and just kind of get a bit of a different mood. So also the layout in here is different. So you still have the main hall where a lot of the racing takes place, but then you also move into these side sections, which you have usually for conventions. So we have this other big room here to kind of play around with and use the space to also create a bit of interesting section for the track. So from here you kind of just circle back into the main room again. We have this nice interesting circular room where we definitely want to put something eye-catchy and cool here, since it's kind of a prime spot for that. So you drive around here and then it just leads you back into the kind of main hall again. So since I already mentioned the idea for the thematic dressing for this kind of from Microtech, but also instantly ideas of how we can use this setting kind of popped up in my head. So for example, as you can see, this is this very kind of hazy, cold, bit foggy space, and thought it would be cool to potentially kind of use some areas maybe to take a bit of vision away from the drivers and kind of use it to make it more interesting. A lot of this stuff is still kind of in the very early idea phase, so not everything in here might necessarily kind of end up in the final racetrack, but this is just mostly just throwing some ideas out there. Another thing kind of associated to this dressing would be these kind of icy patches of the track. So on these ones, actually your vehicle like has different grip on the surface, so it's all a bit more kind of slippery, harder to drive on. So you want to be mindful if you drive over these patches. So for this area, I just mainly tested it out. So we want to obviously kind of keep it a bit more localized later to certain spaces and to balance it out so it doesn't feel just like unfair and taking control away from the player too much. Another thing, like an idea, would be these icicles, which could either be just kind of a visual dressing element, or maybe we could in the future physicalize and actually make interactable for the players, so they could reach down further into the kind of area where the people drive, and then you could crash through them and kind of break them apart while you drive there.
Hey, Steven.
Yes?
Adding obstacles, that's like driving a Grey Cat is hard enough. You don't think this is plenty challenge already?
Yeah, well, actually we got some other stuff in mind which might make it even a bit more challenging. Let me show you what we got over here. So these are obviously all still in a very experimental stage. So these are for now just ideas which might or might not end up kind of in the final racetrack. So these ones are basically just these kind of moving obstacles which make it a bit harder to navigate and drive around. Additionally, we have over here some stuff like, for example, this one would be an idea that you kind of have this lift section on the track just to kind of make it a bit more interesting. So obviously you want to kind of make it onto the platform, be fast enough to race on, because otherwise you'll kind of just have to wait until next time the piece goes down for you and lets you go up there. Then another idea would be here, this kind of little jump pad. So if I just get into the PTV. So as you drive over it, it just kind of throws you up into the air a bit. That could be something cool potentially. Let's see. Over here, this could be basically just some moving pieces of the track. So it's either like this ramp going up and down, maybe even leading onto different sections of the track, or this piece which goes sideways. Obviously you need to think about the implementation there a bit. This little kind of obstacle here, which gives a bit of a warning before it comes up and kind of blocks off this section for the player. This little moving obstacle, which just kind of sort of drives on the track for a bit, making it a lot harder to navigate around, and then eventually just kind of goes off again. Could do some boost pads maybe, so just if you get into your Grey Cat again, drive over it, and it just kind of gives you a little boost. Then potentially some not quite 0G, but a lot less gravity involved jumps over ramps. So you could get sections of the track where the gravity just is a little bit turned down. So you get like bigger and longer jumps.
And you've been doing this in your spare time between tasks?
Yeah, so this is kind of just an in-between task while there's downtime on the kind of bigger, more important stuff. And again, like it's important to mention that the last stuff you saw is very much still kind of just in the idea phase, so it might or might not end up like on the next track. And it kind of just more serve just as a starting point for a discussion also with the other departments of how easy it would be to implement something like this. So it's synced on servers between players, so they're actually seeing the same thing happening at the same time, and it's not just like localized to one player's machine and it's completely in a different spot for someone else. Thanks for watching. I gotta get back to my real work now.
So what did we learn this week? We learned that in-between tasks are where individual developers can contribute fun and off-the-wall ideas to the game while waiting for dependencies to resolve. That one of the many ways this manifests is with quirky buggy racetracks. And that Stefan Demrau, sole architect of this endeavor in his downtime, may have a rather sadistic side I hadn't anticipated after seeing some of those moving obstacles. Most developers do. Now remember to keep an eye out for Alpha 319 with its mining updates, salvage mission modules, tractor beam improvements, new Loreville, continuing performance improvements, and more as it makes its way through PTU into the live testing environment in the coming weeks. There's Invictus Launch Week immediately after that, and possibly some Jumptown thrown in the mix somewhere between now and then. I probably should have paid more attention in the meetings. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share our weekly behind-the-scenes look at the process of game development with you. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you, and we'll see you all here next week. Yes, hi, I'd like to report an error with my order. Yes, you sent me the wrong costume for Star Wars Day. Yes, I ordered an X-Wing pilot. Yes, X-Wing pilot. No. No. Yes, I suppose they do sound similar. Yes, I'll hold.
And we're back. Thank you. That was a great ending for that one. So yeah, so what do people think about this week's ISC, the racetrack, track star, sorry. So yeah, well, I guess BBG, are you there? While we're waiting for BBG, thank you, Yo-Yo Meg, for the raid. I almost forgot to mention that. Thank you for that, for the raid. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So yeah, BBG, what did you think of the ISC?
Well, listen, you'd love to see developers. This reminds me of the young man who began to flesh out River Tech on his own time, and all of a sudden you started to get this feature build out that others could rally around. So I think Jared explained it well in terms of sometimes, folks are ready to move forward with their project, but the other pieces aren't ready. And how else might they be useful to this work? And so I can tell you that the racing community, well, on the one hand, can't get enough of Star Citizen's investment in racing. On the other hand, you have pure racers who I've already seen don't like and won't like some of the innovations that this particular developer came up with to sort of make the track a little bit different, right? They see that as less pure racing and more
arcade,
arcade, right? So for me, I like that what they can imagine is a suite of offerings. Some racetracks will be pure racing and a lot more serious, and other racetracks will be a little bit more fun. And I'm glad that he's visioning it this way. So for me, I was pleased with the use of his time. It looks like assets are actually built out. This is the type of thing that more often than not, CIG, all of a sudden you'll find it in the game, in a patch or two. And you're thinking, oh, he was just trying it out, and all of a sudden it'll be in the game, just like Rivers.
In the game, yeah.
I was excited about it.
Kalrati, stop predicting me. Don't
Can't
do that.
stop, won't stop.
That's not right. That's not cool. Face to face, what are your thoughts?
Oh man, I mean, to kind of jump off of what BBG just talked about, I have to give it up to CIG. Very brave, because for them to show this, excuse me, for them to show this ISC, and to have like BBG talked about, somebody doing something in their downtime with all the noise that they deal with already. Oh my gosh, they're allocating somebody to do this simple this project when they could be doing XYZ to be pushing the project along, that jargon, and they weather the storm of it. That's my one point about it that I say I'm hats off to them. Also to what you just talked about, BBG, and I like the point of fact that they are giving us a variety of something.
Right.
It's.
I mean, yeah. If you're a pure racer, you don't have to race that race, right?
Right. Exactly. You're giving folks something that's also a nostalgia. We all know that this is likened to Mario Kart that we all used to crowd around. The TV on the Super Nintendo or the N64. At somebody's home and just enjoy.
Let me break in real quick, because I think it was DK Dark Knight 75 who suggested putting Pico bombs in there, and I'm all for that. Put it in a thread or YouTube comment in there, so CIG can see that. But go ahead.
Right, and I get it. Your purists, they'll have some things that they'll have theirs, and it's a game where it's everybody's game, and that's what I like. It's something for everybody. And that's what I like, their way of thinking. So, yeah.
And I believe Kaizen said he wanted me to skip him, so I'm going to go to Popping Space.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know why I can't talk today. But, I like, the growth of what, since the first one that we saw. And, with the Ice Patch,
Mhm.
and the other more arcadish style to
Mhm.
it with the with the bumper and the jumping and getting knocked off. It like BBG said, it's a variety.
Mhm.
Everything doesn't have to be so serious. It could be something that you run to have fun with a group of people. And also it made me think of now maybe I'm wrong, but isn't there supposed to be vacation planets that we go to?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
I mean, this could be a part of that. Water parks, where we just don't go and just log out, where we go and have fun. Like I said, on you know, water park themes, go, underwater, go adventuring, go look for different types of I don't, secrets and collectibles and things. So that this is
Right.
great to me because
And
it gets it. No, go ahead, go ahead.
I wanted to jump because no, Pops, you said something that's very important because
Mhm.
you look at a lot of gameplay that people do in this game, like we saw on Yacht Club about 2 weeks back, where a lot of it is just people just coming together and gathering. And
Mhm.
not necessarily, doing a PvP event or a PvE event, but just like they had folks out, one guy was just sitting there. I don't know if he had several other people, but they sat at Lorville and just watched people take off from Lorville.
Mhm. And
That's
there's
all he
another
did.
one that tweet from this week. The Clutch Cup. There was a 20-minute video of people just racing by, so it's almost like an ASMR video, just people to sleep, and I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's so much more to the game than just what the game offers in terms of missions or something like that. The beauty, like the guy was saying, wow, just watching, seeing the engine flares as
Mhm.
a ship, ascending, out of atmosphere, and then watching it quantum jump to wherever it's going. I mean, what other game do you have that where you can get a group of people that could just sit at a location, have fun, drink, whatever, have shenanigans, and just watch something beautiful? You know what I mean? No,
Yeah. Yeah.
something like that. Like DK the other night sat there and just watched, Crusader, right? DK, if I'm correct, just watch Crusader rise,
Stanton.
from or Stanton. No, it's not
Oh, no,
Stanton.
Crusader. Yeah,
It's Crusader,
Crusader.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch Crusader just rise, from right over Area 18, just sat there,
Mhm.
and just took it in.
Yeah, DK. The planet is called Crusader. 'Cause that's where the Crusader brought the planet. The system is called Stanton.
Oh, he was
I made
watching
that
the
mistake.
Stanton
I
Star.
made that mistake Sunday. What was
Yeah,
that?
he's watching the Stanton Star rise over
Oh, you
18.
got to the Standing Star then. Okay,
Oh,
Yeah.
the
see that's different.
star.
Okay.
Okay, it was the sunrise. Okay, got it.
Okay, got you. See, but even still, to just sit there and just enjoy something,
Mm.
you know.
Very
And
true.
oh, my bad. Come on, you want to go first?
Oh, you can go first.
Okay.
I can.
My bad. I was gonna say, this is something that people could maybe jump to. If you don't have 2 hours to spend in Star Citizen to do a dynamic event or do a bunker mission or whatever, you can just log in, maybe spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes during race for a while, and just hop in and hop out. This is, like I said, BBC made a point. This is for for someone who's more casual into Star Citizen. Just want to they don't have too much time to divest for a player session. So yeah, I can see someone who may not have too much time jumping in for some fun. Um, they talk about in the chat. DK mentioned Black Ice. It remind me of a Key and Peele skit. I love in the middle of the video how Jared asked him about this seemed more challenging, and then the guy was like, "Hold my beer, I'll show you challenging." Look at this stuff that I have played.
Oh yeah.
So I thought that was funny, and it's amazing what CIG developed to become in between tasks. I believe like pursue a planet with an in-between task, and look how that turned out. The first buggy racetrack with in-between tasks, and then this guy's taking it to a whole new level. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. One thing I will note, finally, is that they mentioned live testing environment. That's what they call the live server. And when people see live, they mean it's a live service. It's just, just that. But it actually means live testing environment. And, I probably knew that way back when, but I forgot about it. So I just wanted to bring that up. It's still a testing environment, but it's called live testing environment instead of public testing universe. But yeah. What were we going to say, Kalrati?
Oh, yeah. So, when I saw these.
You cut out again. I don't know why.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Oh my God! I was about to say, don't do it again. But go ahead.
All right. So when I saw those obstacle courses, I was thinking, that I hope it adds some additional creative inspiration to the mission content and environmental teams with regards to locations, because it got me thinking. You go into some kind of facility, some kind of enemy facility, and there are these kinds of obstacle courses similar to how you see in some of the, you have to navigate them and such. So it was nice seeing these kinds of obstacle courses and the obstacles on them, and I that just got into my thoughts. What if they actually add certain minor obstacles that kind of you have to navigate through them within a particular facility or so, when you're actually doing a mission in in one of the buildings, et cetera, et cetera. So that just got to my thoughts, and I hope once again we know that whenever they develop certain things for certain aspects of Star Citizen, sometimes also adds some creativity for other things. So I hope to see something like that for mission locations too. But going back to what he did, it was really nice to see actually applying this in his free time, and I really hope that we get some other things as well in different biome like in more biome like environments too. So, yeah.
Trying to find something real quick. So you're hearing stuff in the background. Okay, stop that. Yeah. So thank you for that. I love the ending, by the way. Jared always puts out a stop. I don't remember him doing anything for April Fool's Day this year, but yeah, this makes up for that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So sorry if people heard things in the background. I was looking for something real quick. We're going over time. I was trying to look for a shorter machinima, but I'm not. I should have started that before now, but that's why I was doing that. But yeah, so we have an 11-minute long machinima. This is from the TheAstroHistorian. But before that, I just want to show this thread real quick. So here we go. This is from Spectrum. This is Indiana Jones. The story card. This game just keeps getting more buggy. I see myself out. And Jake Kabbalah had to reply, said, "Sai, take your upvote." He already had 88 upvotes. That's a lot of upvotes. And then I don't normally reply to Spectrum, but I just had to say, this one even made me groan. So yeah. Oh, you gotta say no. This is an Spectrum thread, though. It doesn't count.
I just have to be sure, man.
It doesn't count. It's in a Spectrum thread. All right, so here we go. So this is the cinema. I'm chosen. It's 11-minute long. History teacher explains Star Citizen High School. So this is a lore post, but this is from the TheAstroHistorian. So here we go.
My name is Paul Shelley, and welcome to the TheAstroHistorian. This is a channel dedicated to exploring and explaining the lore of sci-fi and space universes and discussing their impact. Today we'll be talking about a part of the Star Citizen universe which touches on most of the residents of the UEE, education and equivalency. But before we get into that, I want to thank y'all for your continued support. We are now very close to 20,000 subscribers, and that's all because of you right now. If you've been enjoying these videos, be sure to hit the like button as it really helps out. And if you haven't already subscribed, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay up to date on the latest videos. If you want to go that extra mile, we also have YouTube memberships and Ko-fi for financial donations. Lastly, if you want early ad-free access to these videos, consider joining the Patreon as well. All those links are in the description. Now, let's talk about the most important part of the early life of everyone living in the UEE: equivalency. To start, I'd like to explain that my day job is, and has been for over a decade, teaching high school social studies in the US. I enjoy the job, and as you might be able to tell, I take some aspects with it with me into hobbies like this channel. So it was very interesting when the latest lore dump from Star Citizen included a long article on what my job looks like in their universe. So this is going to be a normal lore video, but with some added detail as to how it compares to the US high school system, and generally modern secondary education. Let's start with what the equivalency is. This is a certificate awarded to those who complete their secondary education in the UEE. It can be passed by completing an upper or full secondary UEE certified education program, or through passing a group of subject tests issued by the UEE government. It is required that all civilians in the UEE obtain it if they want to enroll in post-secondary education, be it certifications or universities, and is also required if you want to apply for full citizenship rights. As a reminder, citizenship is a unique class in the UEE, which is only given to individuals who have done some service to the Empire. The easiest way to earn citizenship is through the military, and the UEE military requires you pass your secondary school to enlist. Thus, there isn't much you can do in the UEE beyond your teenage years unless you have completed your equivalency. For those not familiar with the term secondary education, it's a period of compulsory education that generally starts around 13 to 14 years of age and ends around 17 to 18 years of age. This is also the case with the equivalency in the UEE. Now, the history of education in the Star Citizen universe is rather extensive and mirrors how education has developed over the last 200 years in the real world. To start, during the human expansion era in 2380 to 2530, secondary education was required by law for all born in the UNE. At this time, most humans still lived on Earth or in the Sol system. While humanity was rapidly expanding and colonizing, the vast majority of the UNE residents lived in areas where education and schooling had been the hallmarks of youth for hundreds of years. This changed as humanity began to empty out of Earth, then Sol, and began to settle the gems of the human expansion era. Places like Croshaw, Redder, Virgil, and Pharaon. While these places were rapidly developing, this didn't mean that every child had easy access to formal schools. This made it harder for families to move to the frontier, as many couldn't afford to send their children to more settled areas for formal schooling, and didn't want to put them in a disadvantage just to gain new land. In order to encourage more settlement of the far-flung systems, the UNE developed a standardized set of computer-based learning modules called the Educational Equivalency Curriculum, or EEC. These modules replaced in-person education on worlds where teachers and schools were not yet available. Though if you had access to in-person schooling, you were expected to go through the standard system. Upon successful completion of the EEC, a student was given their Educational Equivalency Degree, or EED, and often simply called their equivalency, which was as good as a secondary school certification in the UNE. This is very similar to the Schools of the Air, an education system that is still studied today. It was a movement that started in the 1920s and was dedicated to getting rural students in various countries education where no means of formal education was possible. Lessons were broadcast to remote schools, most famously in the Australian outback, via radio. Students would still meet occasionally a few times a year, but would keep in touch through shortwave radios, thus allowing for more socialization despite the isolation. If I had to venture a guess, the Schools of the Air system seems to be at least partially the inspiration for the Star Citizen's EEC. The EEC was meant as a temporary measure for in-person schooling, while colony worlds established stable local governments. However, it would soon become permanent. More and more humans were relying on the EEC as their secondary education requirement. So when the common laws were established in 2526, the new UPE designated the EEC as the standard secondary curriculum. This became the standard way children would get their education, with actual final tests to earn their EED being the responsibility of the local governments, meaning 99% of their education was remote. This would change once more when Ivar Mezer took over and formed the UEE in 2546, as the new government began heavily modifying the modules of the EEC. The Mezers were not interested in education, but indoctrination, to push their own brand of propaganda. Xenology and sociology modules became increasingly seeded with anti-alien and pro-human thought. The history module was especially modified, glorifying and whitewashing Ivar Mezer's rise to power, specifically the atrocity at Jata. This was a string of violent terrorist bombings that took place in Jata, the capital city of Cestulus and the Davian system. Almost 5,000 civilians were killed in these attacks, and despite investigations by the advocacy, no perpetrator was ever discovered. This didn't stop Ivar Mezer from using these conveniently timed attacks, which allowed him to claim that the Xi'an were secretly behind the attacks, and that the only way to stop them was by instituting his fairly unpopular prime citizen idea with him at its head. The Mezer's History EEC module removed any doubt that this was the case, and spun the ascension of Ivar to Imperator as a wildly popular one when records prove it wasn't the case. This is just one example of many in this module where anything and everything that had disrupted humanity was linked to some meddling aliens, and absolutely none of the very public military assaults on human anti-Mezer protesters or any directly linkable atrocities of the Mezers were ever even mentioned in this EEC. This would change with the fall of the Mezers and the death of Linton Mezer in 2792. The new UEE recalled all of the modules and entirely revised them. As a result, all secondary schools were suspended for 2 years, until a new version of the EEC with a detailed history on the Mezer era was released in 2794. It is now updated and revised once every 10 years. Today, each planet's Governor's Council, the supreme government of planets in the UEE, is responsible to offer free public education and hire teachers to ensure the completion of said education. The modern EEC is given through modules on computer programs or sent to students via Mobiglass and completed on Spectrum. However, there are still public in-person schools available for students who live near them. The quality of these in-person schools vary wildly from location to location. In places like megacities, schools can have upwards of 500 to 1 student-teacher ratio. Any teacher watching this likely made the same noise I did when I read that. For those unfamiliar, a student-teacher ratio is key for improved learning. Smaller class sizes are not just easier to manage for teachers, but allow teachers to focus their lessons and planning to be tailored towards individual students. Because not everyone learns the same way, this allows for improved retention and test scores overall. So I would venture to guess that the education systems in the more high population dense areas of the verse have some serious issues, with everything from test scores to behavior issues and dropout rates. In those massive UEE classes, the teacher functions more as a facilitator and uses the same EEC system as remote schools, and occasionally grades essays. This means the only true advantage of public schools in these locations are in-person socialization and having a teacher to help if the student has questions. However, the latter is probably not as frequent as anyone would like. This is not reflective of all public schools, however. It highly depends on the local planetary government and likely the funding for education. There are alternatives to both public schools and the remote EEC program, with both private and military academies. Private and military academies offer a better student-to-teacher ratio than public schools, and often include private tutors for their students, meaning education is far more personalized for them. Unfortunately, the courses offered in non-public schools are not covered by the UEE, and thus students and their families have to pay tuition out of pocket or through grants and scholarships. Overall, this is a very similar system to what we have now, with the module system almost a one-for-one of alternative and adult school approach to education. A self-paced, all-encompassing set of lessons, work, and tests which evaluate how well the learner has mastered the material for a specific subject. As is typical with Star Citizen, the writers did their homework to make this system, in its bare-bones structure at least, sound believable enough to exist, while utilizing the advanced technology of the verse to make it work. I'm not rushing to be a teacher in this universe, but I don't think the classrooms of the 30th century would be too alien in their pedagogy. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'd like to thank those who are on screen now for supporting the channel financially. If you want to throw in a few credits, think about becoming a member on YouTube. And if you want a bit more for your contribution, join the Patreon. Patreons get early ad-free access to all videos, including exclusive early access to my long-running Complete History of Star Citizen lore series, which the most recent episode is available for anyone to watch. If you want to know what contributions get you, check out all of those videos in the playlist in the top right. Now, I want to hear your thoughts on the education systems of the UEE, and any other lore topics in the comments below. And as always, remember, ex Historia ad Astra.
Thank you for that, AstroHistorian. I'm gonna call him AstroPub. But that was pretty good. So yeah, free fall. Anyone have any comments about that?
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just
Anyone?
gonna say basically, yeah. I was just gonna say shout out to Paul as always. You know, he puts as our mamas or grandmamas would say, you know, he put their foot in it. You know, he always does a great thorough job on the subjects when it comes to lore and Star Citizen and everything. You know, big up to Paul and all of that. You know, just want to give that man his flowers again.
Cool. Thank you. Anyone else?
He's always fantastic work. Fantastic work. I mean, you know, the man puts everything he's got into these videos.
Yeah.
Very, very informative.
Yeah, I learned a couple of things in here. How about you, Kalrati?
Yeah, likewise, actually. I was going to say, as a research teacher in college, you know, was talking about the whole...
You're cutting in and out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stop doing that. Go ahead.
So I was saying...
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. So I was thinking, you know, it got me thinking about in the near future, whatever near that future may be, when we start colonizing other planets, if the whole approach to teaching is going to be the same. And, you know, even now, I'm low-key pushing for the integration of VR for our engineering students to kind of accelerate their learning and to make it more flexible. And when he mentioned, you know, how teaching modules,
Okay.
you know, yeah, how flexible they can actually be per student, especially when you have a large teacher to student ratio. When teaching space and as we heard from Elon Musk and others from SpaceX and other space companies, they want to encourage younger persons to actually get into this whole, you know, space related franchise for schools, being able to, you know, have things where you can have a lot more flexible teaching modules per student, so that they can actually realize their understanding of certain things in ways, etc. Actually will benefit everyone as a whole. So it will, you know, in some cases, of course, since the teacher the student population far away sometimes the teacher, if you have more specific modules to just put them together, it may actually help a student out. And him linking and talking in the game, I actually didn't know a lot of that was in the game's lore. And I'm hoping that some aspects of these are kind of not the bad aspect, like the Messer aspect, where they had to flush out the bad stuff or kind of revise it. But I'm hoping some of the approaches that were talked about is actually integrated to get students, especially, you know, learning and understanding and actually liking space-related entities in education and academia a lot more, and have them and help them to understand it a lot more easier, especially too. So props on Astropub for linking the lore with what's happening within the real world too. Great job.
One of the things that I most like about his work actually is specifically that for people who might be new to the verse or not as well aware of the history of the verse, he does a very good job of personalizing it and making it something that we can understand today from the standpoint of saying, like, hey, that you have situations between the haves and have-nots. You always have and you always will. And in that particular case, like, some people couldn't afford to do the right education, so they couldn't take advantage of the opportunities on the frontiers. Other people, did. There was stress and stuff with the teaching. And then talking about the whole aspect of, like, oh yes, how unscrupulous governments and or corporations or whatever could maybe take advantage of an education system that's underfunded to start inserting propaganda and all kinds of sort of questionable, harmful, whatever, and stuff like that, where if you don't know about the history of the verse and then you start hearing stories like this, stories that resonate, whether it be something where you're talking about like different board of educations today in America that might be teaching some things that some people have issues with, or different propaganda, jingoistic, war, nationalistic, all of that stuff. It's that really, I think, when people come to the history of the verse that don't know it and see stuff like that, it really opens a door, and I think makes the history of the IP much more relatable, much more real, and makes people, I think, more anchored into, oh, this is a real fleshed out universe.
Quite Thank you for that. Yeah, the only thing that stood out to me, because I don't want to just go too long, but he said that after the Messer regime folded or went down, they suspended schools for 2 years because they had to get rid of all the stuff in there, the propaganda that he put in. So I'm like, can you imagine if people, shut down school for 2 years? And we don't have to imagine, because that's what we did for COVID, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's like in real life, affecting fiction or fiction affecting real life. Who knows how it goes? But I thought that was interesting. It's important, Lord. So that was something that stood out to me.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So again, that was the AstroHistorian Future Explained Star Citizen High School. So Star Citizen lore, and that came out a month ago or so. So yeah, thank you for that, Paul. Appreciate it. All right, so I'm gonna wind down the show. First off, we're going to talk about I'm going to have Kalrati do it, but I didn't prep him for it, so I'm not going to spring that on him. But yeah, we got Podsat, our podcast Saturday, every Saturday. We're starting off with Soul Voices at 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC. That's where we have less of a roundtable, more one-on-one conversation with members of the community talking about Star Citizen. We have threads from Reddit and Spectrum, and that's hosted by Griffin. So that's always a fun time. So that's Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC. And that kicks off Podsat. Continuing on that at 6 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. UTC. We have the after part with Captain Table. That's a long-running show where people talk about Star Citizen. Always a fun time. And we have Relay at 9 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC. And those are some of the OGs from Star Citizen discussing Star Citizen or playing Star Citizen sometime. And that's a fun time. So check that out every Saturday. And on the next show, we have... Oh yeah, community tools, voice attack, Toby Eye Tracker, Starjump, Hanger tools, or YouTube, and what have you. We'll be discussing that Sunday, May 7th, 8 p.m. Eastern, midnight UTC. We're still looking for people to come on that, so if anyone from the Soul team is interested in talking about that, let Griff know. So yeah, that is Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I want to thank everybody for joining me. We had BBG, Big Rat Gaming, Fitchface, Kaizen, thank you for coming back, Poppin' Face, and my co-host, Kalrati. I'm not going to call you beautiful this time, even though you did go today. Don't do that again. Do that more. No, I'm sorry. Anyway.
Oh, boy.
Oh, he's got to end it weird. Griffin's gonna hate this. He's gonna hate this. Anyway, we can't raid anyone because we don't have Griffin here to handle the raid. But I will suggest that people go to. Oh, dog! Oh, it's just about to end. You were literally 10 seconds from ending. Sorry about that. But what I was going to say. If people go to Smackley's raid, because they're having a fundraiser, and so yeah, go to Smackley's. Just click on the link and go manually. And say you're coming from Soul Citizen, making a manual soul raid. So do that for us. And I guess with that, yeah, we're gonna check out. So thank everybody for watching. Peace, love, and soul. Go to Smackley.
Good night.
Later.
We're gonna have to close this for 2 years to clean out something.